Hey, mighty pals, it's Thursday tips time, and I'm on my soapbox. Yep, yep, fired up. Well, as fired up as I can be after having had a massage today. But I was really fired up when I wrote out the notes for today and sent the email for the Thursday tips asking, do open rates matter? Yeah, I'm gonna get up on the soapbox, and this chances are I may say some things today that maybe disagree with what you've heard, maybe disagree with what other experts have said. And I'll certainly say that while I've probably been wanting to rant for a while about email and email open rates, it's time for me to get up on my soapbox. I feel like I've railed for years, but it's been mostly privately and to clients and maybe in some group calls that open rates were unreliable. And we had to stop, well, relying on email open rates because the question was, are open rates even very useful? Are they a reliable marketing metric, a measure of our marketing success? You've heard me talk about email marketing. Email marketing is not dead, it's strong, it's going to keep going, it's going to be strong. But are open rates useful? And the answer is no. Okay, end of rant. No, really. No, they're just not. They're not very useful. They are simple. They are easy to measure. They're easy to show. They're easy for people to understand. But they've always been both undercounted and overcounted, and they're just plain off. And technology has changed even more so in the last year to 2 years to make this a measure of marketing that's messing with us. It is not giving us the mojo, folks. It's messing with our mojo. So, another question, and drop me a comment whether you're here watching with me on live or you're watching on the replay. Do you know how an email marketing your software measures an open? And yes, the answer is how is it sucks in the manner of how it does that. But no, seriously, because from like the dawn of email time, back when everybody was using MailChimp and anything else, and it doesn't matter, MailChimp, MailerLite, Flowdesk, any tool, any of them out there, they're all measuring and tracking open rates the same way. They insert a 1 by 1 pixel, transparent, invisible, teeny tiny graphic that none of us are going to be able to see by the naked eye into an email, into the emails that you're sending out. Okay. And it's only when that graphic is loaded or downloaded from your recipient email server that the email is tracked as being opened. And those itty bitty little hidden images are unique to each email recipient. And so that way the recipient emails phones back home to ActiveCampaign or Aweber or MailChimp or MailerLite or Flowdesk or any of them and says, hey, Erica, open an email. Hey, Jennifer, open an email. If the images were downloaded. Doesn't have anything to do with whether or not the email was actually read. It's just, were the images downloaded? Ah, yes, are you starting to see the problems here? Starting to see the problems here. Yes. I thought it was the percent. Yeah. Oh, awesome. So it was the percentage of mail opened out of mail sent. Excellent point. And I believe that's actually a different statistic. And the answer is so nope. Nope. So there are all kinds of problems with this system of images being this 1 pixel tracking thing of how we know whether an email has been opened or not. And they've been problems for a long time, which is one of the reasons why this has kind of been a soapboxy type of thing for me for a long time. But it's more important now. Because what if your email recipient software does not show or render graphics? Then the email doesn't count as opened, even if it was. Many ISPs, that's internet server providers, where the email lands in your inbox. Like if You're sending something to somebody's Comcast account or their Telesnet account or an AT&T account or something like that, or Gmail or Yahoo or any of the others. But many internet service providers do not load graphics in emails. So that doesn't equal an open. Starting several years ago, Gmail caches images and by default doesn't show images, or only shows images through its own proxy servers, which completely messes up tracking for emails. Tracking doesn't count as being read. For example, I have my own email addresses as test accounts in my email system, always have. Absolutely recommend that you do this. And at least 2 of those come via Gmail. One's coming through a domain, and the domain is routed, and I read it in via Gmail. The other is a pure play Gmail account, and it is a total crapshoot. If ActiveCampaign says I've opened my own emails, even when I open my own emails every time, and not just to juice my open rates, but because I want to track, I want to see, and it doesn't always get it right. And we know there's a hell of a lot of people on our email lists that are using Gmail to open and read our emails. Lots of people who use Outlook see their emails in the preview panels, and that doesn't render the image either. Now that doesn't even open as an open. A lot of mobile users reading on their emails and their tablets. And I don't have that statistic off the top of my head, but the number of people who read their emails purely via mobile is like above 50%. Has it turned to text only on mobile, or images are off if they're out and about or they're on cellular service? For example, my very old Yahoo account, which comes to me via my Apple iOS inbox, and we're going to get to that in a second, it doesn't load images when I'm on my phone. If I'm in my tablet and I'm on Wi-Fi somewhere, then yes. But it does not load images when I'm out and about. None of those emails will count as opened. And yes, there are privacy concerns over tracking and that whole little 1-pixel tracking thing, and those are quite legit, and so on. So you can see how we measure opens sucks. And so the question is, do open rates even really matter? Well, now what? So another question. As business owners and email marketing loving people that we are, we get hung up on our stats, and we tend to get hung up about things like open rates. And we start wondering, oh my God, my open rates must suck. And oh my God, my open rates are amazing. And oh my God. Well, first of all, the question is, do you even know what the average open rate is? And I've talked to lots of business owners. I remember having to counsel them off the ledge that nobody anywhere in any industry has a 100% open rate. Nobody has a 75% open rate. Now, because I'm a data geek, I'm a marketing, I'm your marketing geek, folks. I went out and there's a company who studies this. Not only have they studied this, they've analyzed 100 billion, that's with a B, billion global emails through 2020, just last year. And the average for all industries, health, wellness, fitness, education, professional services, e-commerce, all of it, 18%. That's the average open rate. So if you're getting something better than that right now, pat yourself on the back. If you're getting about that right now, cool. For certain industries and niches and consulting and publishing and some other stuff from professional services, it's like 14%. Now, I will say that the average click-through rate is higher than like what I get. The average click-through rate is about 2.6%. I also noticed that they're tracking something which may be a little more similar to what Erica had mentioned earlier, is the click-to-open rate. And that's the percentage of people who've opened your email and exited compared to the person who opened and clicked something. And that's another good one to know. And that one's the industry average is about 14%. Now, I will say that when we look at these, you look at Campaign Monitor and Constant Contact and the others who track email open rates and email marketing statistics broadly, globally, with 200 million to a billion, 100 billion emails a year. No, things like coaching isn't broken out separately. A lot of what we do online isn't measured separately. We fall somewhere between the e-commerce and retail rates on the lower end of 12% open rates, and maybe education, which is more pure play schools and universities, on the higher end rate at 25%. But the point is, I think a lot of us, we get hung up on the math here, and we also sometimes forget that it's math. It's about our list sizes and stuff as well. So the other question, while I'm on my soapbox, is, have you ever followed the advice that's out there by a lot of smart folks on cleaning your list and dumping people from your list because your software said they were not opening emails? Raise your hand, put them in and said, yep, I followed that advice, or yep, I was about to do that. I was going to lead a group maybe this year about doing just that. And time out on that. Because that is well-meaning advice. And it was even true a couple of years ago, a year or so ago. Certainly more so before maybe 2019-ish. It's just not necessarily accurate advice or necessarily the best advice now, because technology has changed. And that advice is the part that's well-meaning, is that if we had higher open rates, it would lead to more clicks, which is more business, which is more moolah, and that we have better reputation rates with our email senders because more people are opening. But again, it's also about a little bit about math, folks. When you're just starting out and you've got a 100-person list and 25 people opened it, you got a 25% open rate, and that's sweet. And you get to a 500-person list and you have 125 people open to get to a 25% rate, cool. And what happens when you get to a list with 1,000 people, but the same 125 people that are most active and love you most, and they read everything, and their software in their email client opens images and it says that they opened? Well, now your open rate's only 12.5%. Or is it? As your list gets bigger, your open rates trend down. And if you cleaned your list and dumped a bunch of people from it and it got smaller, well, boom, your open rates are going to go higher. But it might not be different people or more new people opening the emails versus whoever's been opening them in the past. And all that advice was about that. You got to cut that dead weight that's dragging down your list. And they got to go. And you can even save money because now you're not paying for all those additional subscribers. And you're supposed to do this scrubbing and cleaning a few times per year. And yet, wow, okay, even the experts who are advising this have started to recognize that because open rates are really wonky and you've got a hard time telling whether somebody's reading this or not, that maybe this isn't working so well. Now, I do still think that, for example, that re-engagement campaigns can work to get people more actively involved in your list, reading emails and doing things, clicking. And that's about sending a specific series of emails and using segmentation in your list to give your subscribers a chance to wave their hand and go, yeah, ooh, I still want your emails. Please, no, I don't want to go anywhere. Or to ultimately say, yeah, you know what, I'm done, I'm tired, this isn't applying to me anymore. And I'm like, unsubscribe, right? Bless and release them, as they say. Cool. So full disclosure, I was committed like 100% in email marketing, and I'm working on a re-engagement plan. And back in January, I wrote down goals for what I was going to do a re-engagement. I was going to work on my segmentation. I still have to get better about walking my talk there. Something on that coming up. Stick with me, because I have something that's going to help with that coming up in about 2 weeks. We're going to use surveys with links to find out what my community is most interested in, what they wanted to hear from me, what courses and products they wanted next. I was going to send multiple emails and using segments. Like, for example, segmented campaigns for those who've shown past interest in Trello, segmented campaigns for those who've shown past interest in email marketing, and etc. And you combine that with the data from your email provider or email marketing software that says so-and-so hasn't opened in the last X many months. So according to that, they'd get like a 3 email series. Email 1, some quality resources with links to click and a notice that, hey, if you don't want any more of these emails, just hit the unsub button. And if I don't hear from you, if you don't engage with these emails, you're going to be gone. And then email 2 would give you a little bit more of my story and value information and a notice on the deadline to say, hey, are you staying or are you going? And then you do email number 3 that gives them more value, maybe a gift of something that's normally like a paid offer. Example, you invite them to a free webinar or a free masterclass. And then after that, if they still haven't engaged, boom, they're gone. Now, look, engagement series can absolutely work to warm up a lukewarm list, get long-time lost subscribers back engaging. And that's been a proven by experts much bigger than me part of email marketing. Okay, but first, a whole lot of stuff happened in 2021, and just keeping up and sending emails became a higher priority than what felt like a complicated multi-tier project in re-engagement. And yeah, like anybody else who's ever worked to build an email community, I balked like a horse looking at its first giant log jump. I'm like, you want me to unsubscribe the people who I worked so hard to get subscribed? Oh, And yeah, my ego got tied up in some of those particular email numbers, and it took me the rest of the spring and summer to have a little talking to with my ego on this one. But also, I started seeing and reading more on the changes that were happening in email marketing technology and tracking technology and privacy and how unreliable the measure of open rates was. And that with that tech changing and how unreliable opens was, am I going to wind up cutting out a significant chunk of my list that isn't actually inactive? They're just on Gmail or Apple or Outlook. And so images aren't being rendered. And I've also remembered that I've gotten plenty of those re-engagement campaigns. Drop me a comment if you've gotten a re-engagement campaign, one of those ones saying, hey, how are you? Click, click, click. Are you still there? Are you still listening? Do you still want our emails? If not, we're going to unsubscribe you if you don't click this. And I'm going like, what the hell's going on here? I'm reading these. I read these people's emails. And then I'm like, oh, they're coming to my newsletter account. The one that the email address that's a Gmail address. It says .gmail.com. And they have no clue if I'm actually opening because of Gmail's iffy treatment over images. And apparently I wasn't doing enough clicking through. I was just merrily reading along. You watching this may be merrily reading along with my emails, which is great. But it makes us look like dead weight. We're about to get ourselves whacked off of somebody's email list because it doesn't look like we've actually opened. So would all that same stuff happen if I run my own re-engagement campaigns using the completely iffy stat of open rates? Well, fuck. So how are these changes in analytics and open rates changing what we should be thinking about? And we need to be doing and measuring what matters. And so one of the big changes that really made a lot of marketers go, oh, fuck, was at the end of June, Apple announced that its built-in inboxes will no longer report back opens to email senders. They don't give a crap whether they're rendering the images or not. They're just not going to track and send that information back. And we're talking iOS and Mac. And that's a pretty big damn deal because some statistics show that Apple's apps are responsible for more than 50% of all opens that are being tracked in email across everybody. We're talking everybody from Target and CVS and Amazon down to you and me. So I am not just going to leave you here with my rant and the stats and the doom and the gloom. No, we're talking about what we can do better with our email marketing. And I feel like that's what I've been talking about for the last year. So we're going to work on things like clicks, and we're going to keep working on subject lines, and we're going to keep delivering value as we should. But one piece of advice means that maybe that older advice on how to clean your list, and irony of ironies, hypocrisy, Apple says, yes, marketer, you should clean your lists. Well, but how? If we can't use open rates because open rates are a completely unreliable matter. Exactly how do you want us to do that, Apple and Gmail? So, look, there are bigger, smarter names than me working on ways to figure out to help us keep nice, clean, engaged lists in this age of tech. So I don't have a perfect answer for you right now, except don't go dumping everybody off of your list because MailChimp, Aweber, ActiveCampaign, ConvertKit, MailerLite, or Flowdesk said they're not opening, because that's not reliable. So we're measuring what matters. We're going to look at opens more for a sense of how are your emails doing over time? What emails stand out for having a really good or a particularly high for you open rate? What was different about that subject line? Did you send that to a segment? Was that a subject line you had tested? What can you learn from the instances where it goes pop and do better? Yes. So back it all up again for another second. Are you measuring? Are you testing? Have you ever used the A/B or split testing feature in your email marketing software? And if not, then maybe we need to have a demo time to work on that together. Maybe I'll borrow my brain and let's set some tests up. The other, use your tracking preferred method, whether it's a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet, a Trello board, Asana, ClickUp, your choice. Keep a list of your 10 most opened emails overall, ever, and or the 10 most from the past year. Now, I will admit, some software doesn't make this easy to find. I wish I could make ActiveCampaign sort and show me emails by open rate, but it doesn't. I've been on calls with more experienced, bigger people than I am, and we've had this discussion. It doesn't. It's going to be some manual work, which is why you want to start now. Just go ahead and create that chart and keep adding to it. Keep a chart with the 10 most clicked emails. If you are sending offers and you can note, and you have a way that you're noting which emails that you send out have a promotion, which 10 were the best converting, where somebody clicked through and bought from the link that you sent. That's true for affiliate offers as well. So what else are we focusing on? We're focusing on clicks. You're going to use tags within your email software so that you can add tags to contacts. Why? So we can get to that next point, segments. Segments. Because this is about engagement. Engagement matters more than and open. We can work to incentivize the clicks. We can make sure that we always give useful quality clicks, that we're not just using a hyperlink for a promotion or a sales page, that sometimes it takes them to a blog post and to a video or to a podcast or to a gift or something else useful. You might decide, and this is something I've been working with back and forth a little bit in the past, few weeks or months, write less in your emails. I swear, I'm really working on that. Write less in your emails and put the rest of the content in your blog and encourage them to click through to keep reading, or click through to watch a video, or click through to come to a live video chat. Make your links clear and compelling. Do not always bury them in the text. It is okay to use buttons for your text. We've gotten so scared that our emails have to look like plain text that we've actually made it hard for people to read the emails and to get the useful information. Useful emails are better than emails that look like they're trying to be something that they're not. Use click-based surveys in your emails, which is going to help with this next point, the one about segmenting. So there's something within ActiveCampaign where, for example, I set it up for the email that I sent today talking about this video, where it's now going to add a tag. If you click the link to watch this video, bing, it should add a tag that tells me you're interested in email marketing because you clicked the link to watch this video in the 3 places where this video is showing up. Because segmenting. This is where it is, and this is where it's going, and this is sort of where things have moved in the last, I don't know, 18 to 24 months of email marketing. It's about sending the right email to the right people at the right time, giving them more choices and options to our email communities on what they receive, when, how often they get it. It's also about segmenting and split testing, that maybe you're sending one subject line to one set of people and one subject line to another set of people. You might even send a different subject line based on data you have for a given segment. If you know, for example, that maybe a different way of saying that email in that subject line would work better for the folks in my audience who are parenting coaches and health and wellness and family-oriented coaches versus writers and business coaches and mindset folks. Keep working on those subject lines. Keep getting people to open your email without being spammy or clickbaity. There are things that you can do, things like sender name. Yes, a significant portion of your email list may be ignoring you or deleting you based on the from or who it appears the email is coming from. Is your name familiar to them? Do they remember why they signed up in the first place? Is your logo or your name prominent when you open an email? Or is it coming from a domain, a corporate name? And you're like, wait, who is that? Or there's one that I noticed that it's sort of a corporation. There's a team. Well, the name on the emails keeps changing. There's like 3 different names that it keeps rotating through it. I don't know who the hell is sending it. And sometimes I click to open and I'm like, oh, that's you, right? Wait, what? No, don't make it hard. There are also things that can affect your reputation with your sender, with your email software. If your domain name or the email and the from and the reply to email are different. This is something that Gmail is known to flag and potentially shove people into spam and promotion folders for. There are things you can do to authenticate or verify your domain. Follow the steps in your email marketing service. Check on days and times. You might want to change up when you send your emails. Now, caveat, consistency is good and people kind of like knowing what to expect, but maybe a little spontaneity can help too. And you might want to test and change the time of day. For example, it may not be great to send an email that reaches everybody's inbox at 7:55 a.m. Eastern time. Why? Because that's when everybody else has already sent their emails overnight, and somebody wakes up and they've got 42 emails already in their email folder, and they're just going to start triaging and deleting and stuff like that. But whereas, what if you showed up in their inbox at 11:35? Well, that email box might be emptier. You might have a better shot. From the companies who have done the benchmarking, like Campaign Monitor, Constant Contact, Afterco Campaign, Saturday's not a good day to send unless you're in really specific industries and niches. And Sunday is pretty awful for click-through and click-to-open rates. So maybe be careful about what you send. But maybe occasionally you change it up, because if nobody ever gets an email from you on Saturday and they finally get one, ooh. So use that power, use that mojo wisely, folks. So the other thing is my mighty marketing community has asked. We had discussions in the group. We've been talking about email. We've been talking about opens. We have been talking about things like automation and segmenting. And I said, fine, I will show you inside of my Active Campaign setup why I moved to Active Campaign. Primarily, it was because of automations, tags, segments, and being able to do that in a way that was simpler and easier and made sense. That they wanted to know about, well, how do we set up segments and keep track of it and not have my head go, kaplooey, about why I actually have more than one welcome series and how those interact with each other. About creating segments based on interest so that we can be sending those right emails to the right people at the right time. So the other thing to note is this is a completely free webinar. Free, doing it free. I'll have other workshops later where we're going to talk more about email marketing in the fall. free webinar Wednesday. Oh, I forgot to put the banner up. Wednesday, August 25th at 2 p.m. So I'm going to make sure that goes in the comments. So I will make sure now I have to put this in the comments. Free webinar. Where we go? So deep dive. I'm talking while I'm doing this on Active Campaign plus segmentation, and it's August 25th, 2 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to grab the link so I can drop this into the comments. If this is something that interests you, put down that you want the webinar, that you let me know that you're in. Definitely click the link, get registered, join me in the webinar. Make sure that you join and register for the webinar so that you get replays, because yes, of course, I'm going to record it. But being there live is a really great chance for you to ask questions about tags, about automations, about segments, and maybe even have me go in and get hands-on with examples of folks as we play through this and we do this. We can even talk about, how this applies or doesn't apply in certain other software. There's some big names out there in terms of email marketing software that just don't have the same features in terms of automation, or for tags are challenging. It's one reason I left Aweber. They were working so hard to get tags working, and they are working better. But me and tags and Aweber was never going to be a thing, never going to happen. So that's why one big reason I'm with Active Campaign. But you've asked, we're going to do the free webinar. We're going to talk all about it. We'll talk about the things that are coming up in terms of September. So I will also, if you want to know, I will tell you what my open rates were for the email that I sent out about open rates. You want to tell me what your most recent open rate is? It is a safe place. Come to the Mighty Marketing Mojo group and let's talk about it. But more importantly, let's talk about what we're going to keep doing to get beyond the open rate. About clicks. We're going to talk about if you've ever used a segment. Have you ever done a split test on a subject? If you want help, if we want to do that, if that's going to be one of the next trainings that come up, let's talk about it. Let's do it. Let's help getting you to the measures that matter to get to more engaging emails so that you can really truly get the power of email marketing. And let's not waste another night's sleep over open rates and what they are, what they don't matter. And I'm not just saying this because my own open rates are low or have gotten lower over time, because of course they have. My list has grown and technology's changed and everybody's reading everything in email, in Gmail and Apple. It almost surprises me when I see the marketers who talk about their high open rates. And one of them even said, like, look, I know it's high right now and it's probably artificially high and it's about to be eviscerated, and talking about the Apple decision. So we can commiserate all over this and we can take action on what things we can do better. So I hope my soapbox moment made you feel better, made me feel better, was illuminating and also inspiring you to go take action, to not worry about things that don't matter and to take action on the things that do. Send quality emails, be consistent with your emails, and encourage people to click and to reply in emails. That's why you've noticed a lot more times lately me asking, hey, reply and let me know, or reply and answer this question. Those are good measures too. All right, until next time, go out, be mighty. Go serve your people.